Hey everyone, welcome to season 3. This is Shauna.
And this is Rosalina, and we're your hosts for Too Young for This Shit podcast. This podcast is not just about boobs, but a journey with cancer. We are young millennials, open about giving you our raw and unfiltered look into our lives. We are in no way medical professionals, nor are we offering medical advice. Any medical references are cited directly from public websites or from our personal diagnosis. Some topics and stories may be triggering to those who are fighting, have fought, or have loved someone with cancer. Hi everyone, I'm your host Rosalina, and welcome to our first Tit Talks. This mini-series is where we dive deep into all things breast cancer news, bringing you the latest updates and vital information to keep you in the know. My mission for this series is to keep you informed, to get you smart, and to ensure you're always in the loop. I will link all the resources mentioned in our show notes. So let's discuss the latest news on DIEP flap breast reconstruction. Don't know what it is? Here's some quick info. A DIEP flap surgery is a breast reconstruction technique using natural tissue from the abdomen. DIEP flap reconstruction, as discussed on Living Beyond Breast Cancer's website, is considered safe with low risk of surgery-related issues. This tissue flap surgery uses only skin and fat. So this approach can lead to less pain, shorter hospital stays, improved healing of their donor tissue area, and higher satisfaction with the appearance and the natural feel of a reconstructed breast for many women. How much does it typically cost? According to Living Beyond Breast Cancer, it typically costs $50,000 or more. So this type of surgery is really expensive. And so with all of this, what is happening with the DIEP flap procedure? And before I dive into that, first I want to explain this. The Women's Health and Cancer Rights Act of 1998, so I was 5 years old when this law was in place. It's a federal law that has insurance plans that cover mastectomies to also cover breast reconstruction. And so if you have breast reconstruction once, twice, 5 times, it should be covered by your health insurance. However, this act doesn't specify the exact types of breast reconstruction procedures that must be covered, the specific billing codes to be used, or the reimbursement rates. And so that leaves a lot of gray area. Because of this, health insurance has the opportunity to change how treatments are covered. So going into what is happening, in 2019, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, also known as CMS, a federal health care agency, introduced a change in how they reimburse doctors for the DIEP flap surgery that would make it impossible for many plastic surgeons to bill insurance companies at a rate that covers their cost of performing the surgery, threatening access to the procedure for surgeons and patients alike. Though the change wasn't intended to go into effect until December 31st, 2024, there were cases where insurance companies adopted the change immediately, and one of those insurances was Cigna. CMS decided to combine all flap reconstruction procedures under one code and phasing out the unique codes for individual flap surgeries. This means that the surgeons performing DIEP flap surgery, which what I mentioned earlier, that it costs $50,000 or more, the surgeons can only bill insurance at the rate of another surgery, something that's similar called tramp flap surgery, which is an older, less advanced, and less common procedure associated with more long-term complications. The tramp surgery, what they do is that they take muscle to create the reconstructed breast, where this more advanced surgery technique like the DIEP flap only takes your skin and fat. So The tramp flap surgery is about 70 to 90% less expensive to perform than the actual DIEP flap surgery. This shift in reimbursement dynamics places a significant financial burden on patients, especially underserved communities, considering DIEP flap surgery, who may now need to pay out of pocket for procedures that could exceed $50,000 in cost. This financial barrier could potentially steer patients toward less suitable treatment options. So, why is this important? Number one, limiting access to DIEP flap restricts women from receiving the best reconstruction option for them. The DIEP flap surgery is a highly popular procedure compared to other tissue flaps, and many women may not be eligible for other flap surgeries. Breast reconstruction is a personal choice. Number two, people diagnosed with breast cancer are already struggling with the high and growing out of pocket costs for their care. A 2022 breastcancer.org survey found that of 1,437 people in the US who were diagnosed with breast cancer in the past 10 years, 47% said their breast cancer related out of pocket costs were a significant or catastrophic burden. We rely on health insurance to help us with the cost, as we are already drowning with hospital bills. The average cost of breast cancer treatment for one patient can range from $20,000 to $100,000. Now that this DIEP flap surgery was causing issues, there were advocacy work done by the community. And so the Community Breast Reconstruction Alliance, led by its president and spokesperson, Dr. Elizabeth Potter, who is a plastic surgeon that also provides DIEP flap surgeries for their patients, has joined forces with numerous patient advocacy organizations and individuals within the breast cancer community to advocate for women's rights. As a united front, they delivered a letter and petition to CMS, strongly urging them to reverse their decision to eliminate the unique billing code for DIEP flap breast reconstruction surgery. This dedicated group, including healthcare professionals and patients, made their voices heard directly during a public hearing by CMS in June. They expressed profound concern that the current timeline to eliminate the unique code by December 31st, 2024, may fall short of preserving access to DIEP flap surgery. This shortfall in access could lead to restricted choices and financial challenges for patients. This group wanted the outcome of CMS to retain the billing code for DIEP flap and ensure equitable access to various breast reconstruction options. So, what was the choice that CMS made? 2 months after the public hearing, in August, the CMS canceled the planned elimination of the unique procedure codes for DIEP flap surgery, preserving patients access to the choice of safer and preferred breast reconstruction technique. With that said, what are my thoughts with this? Even if you believe this issue doesn't directly impact you, if you're probably someone that got breast implants like myself, I think it's still crucial to acknowledge its importance. We've made substantial strides and advancements in breast care treatments and surgical techniques throughout the years, and this situation could have potentially jeopardized our progress, endangering current and future, because 1 in 8 women are diagnosed with breast cancer every fucking year, by limiting their treatment options due to affordability concerns. Cancer patients should not have to worry about affordability to access the right treatment for their needs and should have a fair access to breast reconstruction choices. So that's all the news we have to share for this week. Thanks for listening in, and we'll be back in a few weeks with more of the latest breast cancer news.
A very special thanks to our podcast producer, Bethany Allard, and our podcast editor, Ayla Anderson.
Thank you all for listening and supporting our podcast. Sharing our stories with you has been incredibly healing for both of us, and we hope it helps other women in their journeys through breast cancer.
Ladies, if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and fellow breasties. Help us reach more women by subscribing and rating us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and now on YouTube. You can follow us on Instagram at TYFTS Podcast and email us at tyftspodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from you guys, so shoot us a message. We will link any resources from the episode in our show notes.